John Wayne Gacy, also known as the Killer Clown, was a notorious serial killer who terrorized the Chicago area in the 1970s. He was convicted of murdering at least 33 young men and boys, many of whom he lured to his home by dressing up as a clown and performing at children's parties. Gacy was feeling particularly confident and excited on the day he met Jeffrey Dahmer in a bar, as he had a plan to kill and rape Dahmer, just as he had done with so many of his other victims. Jeffrey Dahmer, also known as the Milwaukee Cannibal, was a serial killer who murdered and dismembered 17 men and boys in the 1980s. He was known for keeping body parts as trophies and for cannibalizing some of his victims. Dahmer was feeling anxious and paranoid at the time of his meeting with Gacy, as he knew the police were hot on his trail and he was constantly looking over his shoulder. As they sat in the dimly lit bar, both Gacy and Dahmer were on edge, each one trying to size up the other and figure out their next move. Gacy was the first to speak, bragging about the number of victims he had claimed and the elaborate ways in which he had disposed of their bodies. Dahmer listened intently, impressed by Gacy's audacity but also slightly repulsed by the details of his crimes. As the night wore on, the two killers found themselves bonding over their shared love of murder and their hatred of the society that had rejected them. They exchanged stories of their past kills and discussed the thrill of getting away with such heinous acts. They even made a pact to continue killing together and to never be caught. But as the alcohol flowed, their inhibitions lowered and their true intentions began to surface. Gacy was clearly planning to kill and rape Dahmer, while Dahmer was equally determined to kill Gacy and then eat him. As they stumbled out of the bar, they were both filled with a fierce determination to outsmart the other. The two serial killers ended up in a deserted alley, where they faced off against each other in a deadly game of cat and mouse. Gacy tried to overpower Dahmer, but Dahmer was quick and agile, dodging Gacy's attacks and laughing maniacally. The two killers continued to fight, each one determined to be the last one standing. But as the sun began to rise and the sounds of police sirens filled the air, they both knew that their killing spree was finally coming to an end. They were arrested and charged with multiple counts of murder, and were sentenced to life in prison. As they sat in their cells, Gacy and Dahmer couldn't help but think about the strange turn of events that had led them to that moment. They had met by coincidence in a bar, both with the intention of killing the other without knowing that they were both serial killers. And now, they were both paying the price for their actions. They could only hope that their stories would serve as a cautionary tale for others who might consider following in their footsteps.